Hello, my Juicy Co-Creators! Lilou here on the Juicy Living Tour Europe, today in Glasgow. This is one of my favorite guests, Sonia Choquette, because I see you in so many different cities around the world, and now we're in Scotland.
I think we're both gypsies at heart. I think we're true bohemians. So here we are, and I'm so happy to be here.
Last time I was in London.
No, Paris.
It was in Paris, and before that, London. And last time, your leg was not doing too well.
It's improved. I'll be dancing on one leg today, but at least I'm back dancing. Yeah, it's getting better.
We're here this weekend at the I Can Do It conference, the first one in Scotland. A House is celebrating their 25th anniversary, and you're one of their top authors.
I'm very excited to be here, very much so. Yes. And it's my second time here in Scotland, first time in Glasgow. And the last time I was here, several people came up later and said, I loved you and you scared me. So I'm hoping I do it again.
What do you think? You shake people up a little bit?
I shake people up and I take them out of their comfort zone a little bit, and I help them give up control, and I help them stretch the edges of the world that they allow themselves to live in, so it's not quite so small and so self-isolated. So
Wayne Dyer this morning on stage was saying how can we limit our potential? The soul has no limit.
That's exactly right. So I'll be right behind him, not just supporting what he said, but actually pushing people to stretch their edges. So I think it'll be a fitting end for the day.
How do we do that, and how does that fit with your latest book?
Well, my latest book is called Grace, Guidance, and Gifts. Sacred Blessings to Light Your Way. And the way that it works for me to stretch your comfort zone is to get you out of your head, where it tries to organize and control, and it's sort of like a hamster on a wheel. And the more we're on that wheel of thinking, the less connected we are to the here and the now and the moment and the point of power. So I'll get you out of your head by inviting you to get into your body, into your breath, into movement, into song, into laughter, into connecting with the people that you're with, really inviting you to reveal yourself and let yourself be seen. And also, when you're off that preoccupation, you can actually see who you, not just letting people see you, but you can actually begin to see the world in a more accurate way. And honestly, only then can you pick up and perceive intuition, because it's subtle. It's more subtle than that wheel of thought.
Why are you saying it's not an accurate way? Why are you saying we're not seeing things as they are?
Well, I think when you begin to be in your ego, intellectual mind, you start to layer filter and more filter and more filter between you and the experience around you, because the mind tends to tell stories about things. Even something as simple as say I'm attending this conference and I sit down next to a woman and I just glance at her, and maybe she's got purple hair and feathers, and so I think to myself, this is a very outrageous person, and one that might even make me uncomfortable. But as you actually begin to interact, as I invite you to do, you'll see that maybe it's a very creative, artistic soul, but very shy. And so your whole first perception or projection was completely wrong.
And that's based on our subconscious, past experience, even past life?
It's like past, all of the above, and it's so many layers that it's hard to manage those layers. But I can help you just kind of slip under that veil and out the other side, where there's no stories, there's no projections, and there's no hesitancy to connect, which is what really our souls want to experience. So in my book, going back to that for a moment, our egos need help. They're not the enemy, they're just the lesser self. And so we have been fortunately given 3 sacred blessings to help us. The first is grace. By the grace of God, you and I are here. By the grace of God, the internet allows everybody watching this to be here. By God's grace, grace is a gift that comes to us to help us experience life beyond what our own resources could do. So we begin to notice grace, and one of the ways to do that is to be gracious yourself. Be graceful yourself. Notice your movements. Notice how you connect with life. Notice and be aware that your spirit is in residence, and so you can relax. Instead of being edgy and being scared and being defensive, you can be graceful or full of grace. So that's one of our blessings. And for that we pray. We ask for grace. And then it's up to us to notice where grace presents itself.
It's everywhere.
It is, and it's up to us to notice. The second gift that we have, the second blessing rather, is guidance. And that's another thing that we have to quiet our minds down enough to notice, because guidance isn't it isn't language that we know in terms of talking. It's vibration. Yeah. And we have to notice vibration, and then it is up to us to interpret that vibration with words. That's why people often say, "Oh, my inner voice," or I'm my inner voice. But often it's not a voice. Maybe it's my inner sense, or my inner feeling, or my inner vision. So I like to tell people, don't look for words.
Yeah. But then we don't listen to this voice. It's crazy. More and more of us are in touch with that, and you've taught so many people. It's happening, but we dismiss it sometimes, and then we're like, I knew I should have. And you take this path, detour, not traveling at the speed of love.
But here's a tool, and why people dismiss it so easily is it's easy to dismiss if we keep it inside. So I encourage you very much to give that voice sound. So just put your hand here, maybe one on your heart, maybe one on your solar plexus, and just say, what are my vibes? What is my spirit trying to communicate? And the easiest way is to just say, my heart says, and see what tumbles out. Because once you give it voice, you can't ignore it so easily. Once it's there, because when you give voice to something, it becomes, it takes on a life of its own. Mm-hmm. It's much easier to keep pushing something to the back of your mind or distract yourself with than it is to say, my inner voice says I really should go for this, and the time is now. Now that's something that then you have a choice. Mm-hmm. But it's no longer, I didn't listen. It's like, I listened. I even spoke it out loud. So now I get to choose whether or not I'm going to follow.
One of the reasons why I love you as a teacher is that for me, you walk your talk. And sometimes that path is not an easy one. I know you had in the past to push away some seemingly opportunities, some big things that come to you, but it's not in integrity with your being and for you feeling good and being in this place is the most precious. And I think there's a big lesson there. And that's why I value so much your work and interview you so many times each time I bump into you. But
well, here's the thing. Another thing about intuition that I think trips people up is that we want to, get the right answer. Yeah. And there's no such thing as this right answer, as though there's something you have to find out there. So if you could just shift it a little bit and just instead ask your spirit, well, what is the true answer for me for now? Just what feels true for me, my true need in this moment right now. And then it's not like trying to search for a needle in a haystack where you could potentially think it's right, but it might be wrong. And then you're in that right-wrong game. Instead, you say, well, does this feel true? And then speak it out loud and then check in with your body. Do you feel a resounding kind of vibrational yes, affirmation. And it kind of feels like you're putting a key into a lock, and it clicks. The other way I describe it is it pings. It kind of sounds or it rings true, but something in your body will just say, ah. And that's another good way to tune into that guidance. So, and then the third sacred blessing is one that you're so graciously sharing now, is our gifts. And we have gifts coming in three ways. One, you have gifts. We all have gifts. Your gift is to connect information that uplifts and guides the spirit to the world. So nothing feels better than doing that, using your gifts. So first, think of your gifts, and are you using them? That'll solve that big question of what's my purpose in life. Then the second is to appreciate the gifts in others. Mm-hmm. Just really, to put the word appreciate means to put value on, to raise the value. Mm-hmm. So begin to notice people and raise the value that you put on their gifts. If someone's gift is to listen, or someone's gift is to inspire, even if someone's gift is to challenge or provoke you, it all comes out in the end that you're being asked to grow. Mm-hmm. And it's an invitation. So and then the third is life is a gift. Yeah. Everything's a gift. Everything here is a gift. So if we notice, then our consciousness and our awareness and our heart open and expand, and then it's not so scary. Then it's like, well, I'm walking in grace. I have my inner guidance and gifts everywhere. Those I have to give, those I have to receive, and the gift of life that's all around me. So
I love it.
It just makes it simple. And I always try to break things down to the simplest. Yeah. Because if we get too complicated, our mind might be entertained and say, oh, how smart I am, but we'll forget.
Yeah. No, we need constant reminder. I see it, and I see the more I'm having those conversations. And it's so true when we are gracious with things and grateful and see in other people the gifts, our own vibration, of course, rise. Mm-hmm. And because we're that, and we recognize ourselves within another, and we share then this spirit and can co-create to the true sense. Otherwise, there is this. Sometimes you feel there is this gap in energy. How do you deal with that when you feel another person is unfortunately or fortunately not where we are?
Well, it's true that relationship is all a matter of frequency. So that gap you're talking about is being on two different vibrations. And the way to connect is to take a moment and breathe and start to reflect on, well, in these regards, we're very dissonant. Our frequencies aren't matching. But where are we alike? We both are passionate. Say you're having a challenge with someone. You can say, well, we're both obviously passionate, even if we're not sharing the same passion. Or, we're both people of conviction, or maybe we're both defended. So we're both vulnerable beneath that. And if the worst case scenario you can come up with, at least we're both breathing. We're both sharing the same breath. So let's start look for what in the other you can relate to or recognize. To recognize means to cognize, means to remember and notice what's right there that's real. What's real is, we're both barking dogs, barking about our own different bones we want to hold on to, but we're spirits underneath, and we're really not adversaries. Even if our minds are not matching, we can connect and resonate in the spirit. It takes practice, because I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of barking dogs out there right now that are challenging my every last bit of mortal patience. But I've at least learned opportunity to grow, opportunity to grow, opportunity to grow. And I embrace those irritations and those challenges that way. And it's actually been true. I mean, they are opportunities to grow. So
we give thanks.
Yes, I think it's important to let people know spiritual growth doesn't mean you're just smooth sailing. If anything, it's like you're mountain climbing and you keep falling down a little bit, or you get so far and slip back. So don't look for it to be easy more than you look for the feeling in your heart to be true. Mm-hmm. And go for what feels true for now, while at the same time recognizing that someone you're sharing the path with may have a different truth. Equally important, so you have to give some space.
And when you feel off-center, what's something that brings you back to your own center? Because it's difficult when we go through turbulent times.
I think that right now so many of us are off-center that we need to, just a real quick exercise is just to start saying what you love. That'll bring you back to center. I love being here. I love music. I love good coffee. I love my daughters. I love traveling. I love laughing. I love dancing. And 2 minutes, 1 minute of saying, but the key is out loud. Because your own voice comes back and returns, and nothing is more influential in your life than the sound of your own voice. It's the most influential. So if it's speaking of what you love, it'll pull you back to center.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for this delicious conversation. Sonia, I know you need to go because you're going to be on stage in a few minutes. How exciting. Over 700 people here.
I know. My human self always gets scared, and then I just love them. I just love them. I just love being here and being part of this. So, and I love you.
I love you too.
Your gifts, and you're so gifted, and you're so gracious. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia. So the name of your latest book again?
Grace, Guidance, and Gifts, Sacred Blessings to Light Your Way.
You're nearly at number 20, no?
Yes. Good counting.
Yes. Is it 20?
Yes. I love to write. It's one of the things I love. So it's a prayer book. It will calm, it'll uplift, it'll bring you back to center.
Good. To center, to love, to blessings. Much, much love, my delicious co-creators from Glasgow, from Scotland. Yes. Here, and thank you for your support and blessings, and we love you very, very much, and hope this conversation helped you on your spiritual journey and growth. Bye.